Good evening. Okay. Regular meeting for the Carson Planning Commission will begin. This meeting is officially called to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'll ask our Commissioner, Dr. Osso, if he would lead us in that pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back in the chambers, and they look absolutely amazing. And based on the quick training we just got, all is well. We are in technology, and it looks good and it sounds good. So, um, thank you to all of staff and all those who had something to do with this. We're looking forward to our continued sessions with all this new equipment. Um, at this time, Madam Secretary, would you do a roll call?
Madam Chair Thomas,
Here.
Vice Chair Diaz,
Present.
Commissioner Doctaso,
Present.
Commissioner Guerra,
Present.
Commissioner Hernandez is excused, Commissioner Huff,
Present.
Commissioner Nfume is excused, Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Wilson,
Present.
Commissioner Monteclaro.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on our agenda will be oral communications for matters not on the agenda. The public may at this time address the members of the Planning Commission on any matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No action may be taken on non-agendized items except as authorized by law. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes each, speaking once. Do we have any speakers for oral communications for non-agendized items?
There are none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Or communications for non-public hearing items listed on the agenda. Members of the public may at this time address the members of the Planning Commission on any matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No action may be taken on non-agendized items except as authorized by law. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes each, speaking once. Do we have any speakers, Madam Secretary?
There are none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda will be our consent calendar for the approval of minutes for August 27, 2024. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve the minutes of August 27th, 2024.
Second.
The motion was made by Commissioner Diaz, Vice Chair Diaz, and then I think the first second was Commissioner Guerra. All in favor, we'll have the, no, I was going to do that, but no. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, we have a continued item. This is for the Marvin Carson Townhomes Design Overlay Review number 1890-22, conditional use permit number 1117-22, the tentative track map TTM number 83598. And this, we will have a presentation from Senior Planner McKenna Alexander. And if you're ready, I will give you the floor.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Thomas, Madam Chair Thomas, and the honored Planning Commission, Makina Alexander. As I'm speaking and waiting for everything to be displayed. Okay, looks like we can start. Okay, thank you again for the introduction of the project. As our Madam Chair mentioned, this is a continued item. The Moppin project, excuse me for a moment. Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, this is the 34-unit condo project at 215 through 231 West Carson Street. The reason why it was continued, the Planning Commission on August 27th, accurately so, had concerns regarding the lack of walkways being illustrated in the plans to clearly show that there is pedestrian access from the street, as well as having opportunity to also have other ways of exiting the project. As a reminder, this project is again a site that's located in primarily commercial and residential area. The zone is mixed-use Carson Street, and the general plan land use designation is mixed-use residential. The site is approximately 1.5 acres. So this illustrates the land uses that are surrounding the project. Again, this is a refresher. We have mobile homes across the street going southbound across Carson Street, as well as other commercial uses. Adjacent to the site is office, as well as a larger shopping center. The project is proposing two-car garages for their 34 units, totaling 68 parking spaces. The maximum height allowable for this site is 45 feet, and they're proposing 3 stories up to 30 feet high. In terms of the private open space, what's required is 150 square feet, and they're proposing close to 153. And a bit of a background again, the allowable or the maximum allowable density for the MUCS zone mixed-use Carson Street is 34 dwelling units per acre. And the project is proposing, and with the 34 dwelling units per acre maximum, that allows up to 51 maximum units. The project itself proposes 23 dwelling units per acre, which allows them to have the 34 units, which is below what the code is requirements. The maximum allowable FAR is 1.5, and this project proposes 1.25. All the units are a mix of either 2-bedroom or 3 bedrooms, and the unit sizes ranges from 1,412 square feet to 2,064 square feet. Here's another refresher. This is what we saw on August 27th. We saw a site plan that did not have walkways. This also provides a little bit, again, a refresher in terms of the number of guest parking spaces, which are 10. Also proposing 2 bike spaces. The lot size is a little over, close to 64,000 square feet. The gross building area is 79,394 square feet. Each of the units will have an attached 2-car garage, and each unit will have a private open space. So in comparison to what we saw on August 27th, this is what is being proposed tonight, what we're bringing back to the commission. Everywhere that you see highlighted in yellow are walkway areas, and let me clarify that. You have walkways on the perimeters as well as the interior highlighted in yellow. Staff as well as the applicant worked pretty fast. Within a week of the concerns, we had this available conceptually and then got sign off from fire had a couple of meetings to make sure that we're meeting the code as well as the concerns from the commission. This is a bit of an enlarged view of it. It's also in the red circles. Those are the 3 gate exits, emergency gate exits that the applicant now has a part of their project. With the changes, it did reduce the landscape a bit, close to 200 square feet. However, we're still meeting the code in terms of the minimum allowable square footage. So now it went from 14,240 square feet, reduced down to 14,038. And we wanted to see a side-by-side. This illustrates the August 27th, the original site plan, and the revised site plan that we're proposing tonight. Here's a rendering of what the development would look like in terms of the size of the buildings, the number of the buildings, and so forth. None of that was affected. Again, as a reminder, it's a landscape that was reduced to allow the 4-foot wide, accessible, fire-approved walkways throughout the development. In terms of general plan consistency, that stays the same, which we discussed before. And with that, staff findings were made in affirmative pursuant to the site plan design review, section 917223, as well as meeting the related sections for conditional use permit. The findings were made in affirmative as well, with the inclusion of conditions for both matters. Since this is a condo project, there is a tentative map, which is also, the findings were made affirmative as well. General plan consistency, site accommodation, water quality compliance, and the Subdivision Map Act. This is an exempt project, infill development, and the parameters for that exemption were also made. Public noticing was done according to the code in terms of on site, as well as mailed out to the related properties within 750 feet and posted according to our code. With that, staff states that the project is affirmative subject to conditions and recommends approval of the site plan design review number 189022, conditional use permit number 111722, as well as the tentative track map number 83598. Further recommends to adopt resolution 2873. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions, as well as the applicant. We also have the traffic engineer, and the fire department was nice enough to show up tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. At this time, I will open the floor for any commissioners who may have any questions. Do you? No, I'm good. Okay. Hearing no questions, that's always good. I do have a card, but before I open the floor for public hearing, thank you for your presentation.
Yes.
I'm smiling. That's a good thing. So there are no questions. Thank you very much for that. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment. I do have one card. The card is from Mr. Doug Maupin. You may come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I appreciate your time here tonight to look at my project. And Makina, thanks so much for helping me make the changes that were requested. And I appreciate the LA County Fire. They did the incredible job reviewing this in like 1 week and approving it and stamping it. And I'm in favor of the conditions. I accept all the conditions, and if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I won't ask again because they said no questions. So we're going to let that ride. Madam Secretary, do we have any other speakers for this item?
Not at this moment, Madam Chair.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak on this item but did not complete a card? Seeing none at this time, we will close the public hearing and return to the commissioners for open discussion. Do we have any commissioners who'd like to make a comment, statement?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Then I will give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur with staff findings and recommendations, and I move that the Carson Planning Commission adopt Resolution 24-2873, finding a CEQA exemption. Also approving the site plan and design review 1890-20-22 and conditional use permit number 1117-22 and tentative tract map 85598 for a 34-unit condominium. And I thank the owners for listening to our concerns and move to have this approved.
Madam Chair,
I'm complete.
Yes,
I'd like to second the motion for approval.
it has been moved by Commissioner Guerra, second by Vice Chair Diaz. Call for the vote.
Madam Chair Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Doctoroso,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Monteclaro.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you so much for hearing our concerns, acting very quickly regarding those concerns. I too want to not only thank you, but our traffic designer, the fire department who showed up and didn't have to, but I like that all minds are on the same page, and it's a beautiful, beautiful development. We're looking forward to it. And now that we know that people can safely purchase their townhomes and not have to be concerned, that makes us happy. So we appreciate you. We look forward to having you here in Carson. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your time. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Maupin. Take care. Then the next item that we have on our agenda is for, I believe it's pronounced Anastasi Development. And this is a request to consider finding a CEQA exemption and approval of DOR number 1874-21 and CUP number 1113-21 and TTM number 83597 for the development of a 50-unit condominium project. And our presenter will also still be Senior Planner McKenna Alexander.
Thank you again. I appreciate it, Chair Thomas and the Commission. As you mentioned, this was a continued item as well. To give the applicant as well as staff the opportunity to kind of fine tune some items, which included holding a neighborhood meeting. Want to make sure that we did reach out to the residents and the other occupants that's adjacent to this property to see if there's any concerns and hopefully resolve them ahead of this meeting. So the property again is at 336 East Carson Street. It's approximately 2.15 acres. It was a former multiple tenant auto service center. This gives you an aerial of the site as well as a view from Carson Street. It's an unoccupied site. All the buildings are vacant. The project site is located nearby. It's between Dolores and Grace Avenue, just west of City Hall. It's within a commercial and residential community. The general plan land use designation for this project is mixed-use residential. In terms of the zoning, the zone for this property is mixed-use Carson Street. As was illustrated, the properties that's fronting Carson Street are within that zone, and then the remaining properties that's adjacent to the project site are residential, either single-family homes built in the mid-century or medium multifamily development zoned RM12D within the design overlay. And as well as across the street, you also have mixed-use Carson Street uses, commercial, office, and backing them is a bit of residential. This is the site plan for the project. There are 10 buildings proposed to house the 50 units. The gross building area is close to 96,000 square feet. In terms of the 10 buildings, the breakdown is you have 8 solely residential units towards the back of the property. You'll see them labeled 3 through 10. And the two buildings at fronting Carson Street are live to work units. All the buildings are, or most of the units are 3-story, 48 of them are 3-story units. The 2 in the rear are 2-story, so they can make the setbacks for this project. The height for the buildings are up to 35. The reason why I say that is because the 3-story dwelling buildings or units are 35 units, and the 2-story units are close to 30 feet. All of the units will have an attached 2-car garage. There's also private open space for them. 13 guest parking, 6 bicycle spaces, and the recreation open space is approximately 15,000 square feet. Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, so going back, you have walkways at the perimeter of the site. So where you see the red arrows, those are the walkways, which are 5 foot wide. The entrance to the site is off of Carson Street. It's a two-way entrance. That's also a fire lane as well. If you look towards the middle, the opening, that's at what we call a hammerhead that also provides access for fire in the event of an incident on site. To provide a bit of background in terms of live-to-work units, these units have to be occupied by the resident, and their business also is operated through their units. Examples are office use or maybe some retail. This is a good point to clarify that the permit applications that you see tonight in terms of the conditional use permit is for the use of residential. And if there are any type of commercial uses that require CUP, they would have to come back to the Planning Commission for a decision. We want to make sure that's clear. So the fronting live-to-work units, retail use has to be limited to display and sales of the works created in the unit. The workspace is designated or limited only to the first floor, and the designated workspace cannot be used for residential living space. And the way that and pursuant to the code as well, all of the residential living space has to either be towards the back of that unit or upstairs, because the whole idea is that that front has an appearance of commercial. Before you is an enlarged site plan to kind of see a little bit closer what's happening at the front part of the property. Again, when you in the red squares, the B1, those are the four live-to-work units within the 2 buildings. And then you have buildings 3, 4, that's showing right in back of it. Just wanted to kind of show a close-up of it. The square that you see towards the middle top, that's where the bicycle parking is for the 6 bikes. And this is a closer look of the rear portion of the project site, of the site plan. And you'll see again the walkways on the perimeter, as well as the pedestrian access is also through the interior. This is a rendering of the project view from Carson Street. This is showing you an idea of what the interior will look like in terms of the garages, which is facing the street, and the height difference from the 3-story units to the 2-story, which is at the back of the property. And the illustration at the top is showing the front doors to the units, which faces the property lines of the site. So we go back. You'll see wherever you see the triangles, that's the 2-car garage. It's the 2 triangles side by side, attached 2-car garage, which is at the first floor of the project. Zoning compliance, we're looking at 111 parking spaces are required. You'll see the breakdown before you. 98 spaces are for residential, that's including the live-to-work areas, and 13 guest parking spaces are required, 1 space per 4 units. The applicant is proposing 113 spaces. Again, the maximum allowable is 3 stories, 45-foot maximum height, and the applicant is proposing 2 to 3-story product up to 35 feet high. 150 square feet of private open space is being proposed to meet the code. And in terms of the density, again, for mixed-use Carson Street, 35 dwelling units per acre is the maximum allowable. The project is proposing 23 dwelling units per acre. And when you do the calculations, going back to the maximum allowable for the zone, the applicant could have built up to 75 units. And for this product, they're proposing 50. The floor area for the project is about 1 acre. Oh, excuse me, 1.02 bar, and the maximum allowable is 1.5. The project has 53 bedroom units, and the unit sizes varies from 1,343 square feet through 2,141 square feet. The landscape is about a little over 15,650 square feet. They're proposing more than 13 trees. And basically you're looking at a variety of trees, shrubs, ground cover throughout the project site. There was a neighborhood meeting, which I mentioned at the top of the presentation. Early September, the applicant mailed out 58 invitations to adjacent and nearby properties that staff identified. On September 9th, a meeting was held at Carson Park, which is the park closest to this project site, with 2 neighboring residents attending. And those residents discussed the project description, as well as explaining that they had some material attached to the perimeter wall, and they agreed to work with the applicant to remove them or to remove them as needed. But they definitely walked away knowing that they will work with the property owner with resolving that. And the illustrations you see below you are the areas that were identified to send the mailers out. General plan consistency, this is an excerpt showing some of the highlighted policies in terms of being consistent with the general plan. With that, staff believes that the project findings have been made in affirmative. pursuant to site plan design review, section 917223. Also, affirmative findings for the conditional use permit and its related sections. Main section is 917221. Again, going back to general plan consistency, site accommodation, adequate street access, traffic capacity, water supply, and compatibility with the area. The tentative tract map is needed for the 50 units. The affirmative findings can be made with inclusion of conditions as well as the other applications, all subject to inclusion of the conditions. This is a categorical exempted project infill development, section 15332. All of the parameters related to that section are also made in affirmative. There's no exception to the categorical exemption applies. Public noticing was done according to our code, posted on site, mailed out to property owners and occupants within a 750-foot radius, as well as posted 72 hours before the hearing. With that, the recommendation is that the findings are affirmative subject to the conditions, and the recommendation is to approve site plan design review number 187421, as well as conditional use permit number 111321, and tentative tract map 83597. With that, staff also recommends adopting resolution 242875 related to the project, the 50-unit townhome project at 336 East Carson Street. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm here for you, as well as the traffic engineer, fire, and the applicant is here as well.
Thank you so much. At this time, I will open the floor for any questions from my commissioners, my fellow commissioners. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I do, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner
A quick
Guerra.
Question. By the way, I'm loving your reports. Just how many egress and exits are involved in this project? And can I confirm 6 bicycle parking spots? Am I correct with that?
Yes. So you're correct with the number of bicycle parking spaces. There's 6. One moment. In the middle top blue square rectangle, that's where the 6 bike spaces are proposed. And in terms of access, this project is primarily surrounded by residential with 2 businesses at the frontage. So this one, you have the access to the site off of Carson Street. There's no gate exits to the east or west perimeters. Mostly because of the residential homes that's surrounding this project.
But in addition to the ingress, egress, you have
in addition, you have to give me a hint. What am I missing?
walk paths.
Oh, yes, thank you. So we do have.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
Chair.
We do have walkways. I thought I mentioned that at the top end, so excuse me. We do have walkways throughout the site on the east and west perimeters where you see the red arrows, as well as wherever you see the red dotted lines, that's also showing pedestrian circulation and access throughout the site. So where you see on the interior, in the middle gray area, as well as you'll see it here. Well, that's the same area, but again, so it's throughout the site. This project, we did work with fire in terms of the emergency access and for not only their personnel, but for pedestrians. And this was acceptable by fire, as well as staff, meaning planning and our engineering staff. To answer your question, Commissioner Guerra.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm complete, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. Specifically as it relates to the egress points, what does staff and fire look for as you guys are coordinating, just to so we know the metrics?
That's a really good question. Kind of touching on the other project that the commission helped us with. Uh, Basically, as planners, we're looking for pedestrian circulation. We're looking for walkways. We're also looking for safe access spot for vehicles. So the idea is that what is the best way for the pedestrians to get on and off site? And then we also lean on on fire to kind of make sure that the accessibility is okay, as well as building and safety. To kind of give you a background of our routing, we route these plans out to various units, including building and safety for ADA accessibility. We route it off to our traffic engineers as well as our engineering staff to make sure that circulation is okay with vehicles and pedestrian ingress egress. And then the applicant's responsibility is submitting those plans to fire for their review of not only the water supply, but also in cases of the subdivision or townhome projects and apartment projects, they're also looking for pedestrian safety as well as their personnel. So it's really a collaborative effort that's happening in the background with our reviews of the project.
Understood. And also, as I understand current building code, they will have fire sprinklers, right?
Oh, absolutely. Each unit is required to have fire sprinklers. The walkways have to be at minimum 4 feet wide. This product is proposed with 5 foot wide walkways. So you're looking at a collaborative effort to make sure that they meet not only building, but fire, planning code, traffic, various units. We all work together.
Understood. And last, is our green space purely recreational, or is that also seen as a potential evacuation place?
I'm sorry?
The green space requirement, is that recreational, like soccer and fun, or that can also be seen as like an evacuation point for a fire? Or is that something that you guys look at?
It's both. So in this case, and each project can be distinctly different, right? But in this case, you have evacuation being shown through the recreation area since it's flat.
Understandable. And I mean, typically 15,000 square feet of green space wouldn't burn or be susceptible to any danger.
Well, that's a hope, yes.
I would hope. Keep it green. I'm complete.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Any other questions? Thank
Yeah,
you.
Madam Chair. Sorry.
Yes, Commissioner Monteclaro.
Yeah. So I have a question on Exhibit B of the resolution, which are the general conditions. And number 139 of the general conditions state that the access driveway on Carson Street shall be constructed per City of Carson standard number 111 or number 112. I saw this condition also on the previous project that we approved. Would you be able to enlighten us first on that condition, and who inspects after the construction? Is there an inspection that to be done on the construction of that driveway?
Okay, so thank you. When you see the conditions of approval, and if they're not bolded, that means they're a boilerplate condition, meaning that they're applicable for either multifamily or meaning apartment or condo projects. That's one. Two, that specific boilerplate condition references a engineering code section. And before they're able to construct, they have to provide off-street plans for engineering to review to make sure that what they're proposing how to build that driveway approach is, complies with the code. And lastly, we do have the traffic engineer here that can illustrate more about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mayor
Yes.
Pro Tem, or Chair Pro Tem, members of the commission. Just to give you an overview of Senior Planner McKenna's explanation, a little bit more in depth. So we have engineering standards which are applied to all developments within the city, as well as all traffic and transportation improvements throughout the city. What this condition says is that the driveway must meet that standard plan. That standard plan allows for a certain width. That width is based on what is normally the type of vehicle that is used at that driveway. So that is where that comes from. The question about how is that checked in the field, we have public works inspectors and we have building inspectors who will check that. So the public works inspectors inspect things that are in public right-of-way. And as Senior Planner McKenna mentioned, the applicant is then, after the project is approved through Planning Commission, then has to submit final plans. Those plans then go through plan check. And we review those conditions, make sure that the conditions are incorporated into the plans accordingly. And then those plans are then accepted by the city for construction. And then they're constructed, and then the inspectors will go out there and they'll make sure that it's constructed the way that the developer has shown on the plans, except in certain cases where there are unknown conditions where we might have to improvise accordingly, but that's usually a pretty rare condition. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I have another question. With respect to the live-work units, let's say I get a live-work unit. Will there be restrictions as to clients, number of clients, number of cars that can use the parking areas? Or do you envision an average number of cars per business? Because there are some businesses that are, invite a lot of clients, and there are those that don't. So can you address how many parking areas or parking space are allotted to live-work units?
For the live-work units, based from the code, the ideal units will be for office or certain retail, whereas the occupant would, for instance, maybe it's an online business. But to answer your question, the code was is silent in terms of any parking requirements for the, for the way that you're posing the question. Live-to-work units are required to have 1.5 parking spaces, and I'll go back to that slide, and they meet that requirement. If you're asking was there any type of study that was done in time, so what type of uses that could come in, that wasn't necessarily done. I think on Carson Street there's various parking spaces also if someone wants to stop by, but the way that the code reads, it says it references office, it references making sure that the resident have their product, make their product within the unit, as well as only showing display of their product. I interpret the code that it wasn't intent for foot traffic necessarily coming there. If our planning manager or council would like to weigh in, that's please.
And so the intention of Live Work is not to attract business, it's for your entrepreneurial efforts so that you don't have to rent out office space other than where you live. So you wouldn't see a restaurant, you wouldn't see typical commercial uses. What Makina is emphasizing is that you'll see things that don't require people to come in because that's not what the intent of Live Work is.
Mm.
So we review all of the potential applications for Live Work, and staff would not approve anything that's going to create a nuisance type environment.
Okay. I'm still not clear. Will there, if, let's say I'm a businessman and I get a unit, a Live Work unit, and I have clients or customers, and my business is very good and it's thriving and increasing in volume and customers. Will there be a restriction on my part to put signs that this parking space is for my business only?
Yes.
There will be a restrictions in that. Okay, I'm complete.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thank you for your presentation. At this time, we will open our public hearing for oral communications. I have a card from Mr. Scott Anastasi. Yes, please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to look at our project tonight. We're excited about the opportunity to finally build something in Carson. Want to thank McKenna for putting in a couple years worth of work to get us here. I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I also have our architect here. We have sold Live Work in other cities. It can work really well if, obviously, the buyer is going to have a business license with the city. So it kind of gets vetted out. And you might get an artist, or you might get an accountant, or somebody who just wants to work from home. So it's a pretty simple thing, and it works pretty smoothly. But I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have one other speaker card for this project, Jeanette Gonzalez, I think. Yes, please come forward. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much for giving me the time. I truly appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate all of these projects that you're doing. I am here just to bring up one little tiny issue that I believe is almost always left out. The street parking on Carson Street. These type of developments are beautiful, but we don't pay attention on the impact it has on the street parking. I happen to be a business that is right next door to that. As is right now, as it is vacant right now, my parking situation is uncontrollable because there's no one monitoring who parks on the street. There's people parking there for 5 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Cars abandoned. Nobody cares. Sweeper doesn't sweep because the cars are there. I can only imagine how bad this is going to become when now we're going to need more cars of people that actually live there. My clients don't have to come to my shop and stay there an hour. They come in, put an order, leave. 10 minutes at the most. I never have parking. The property that I rent, unfortunately, was built probably before the 80s. People didn't have that many cars, so the parking for the business 2 parkings. And I manage, not all the time, because my neighbor is a restaurant who happens to have a lot of good business. But when we're going to add more living space, units that have 3 bedrooms, possibly 4 cars with 2 parking spaces, these people are going to need parking. I have a solution that I need you to visit. I need you to study it, because although all of these things are beautiful things that we need in this city, we also need to make it feasible for everyone. So many cities have implemented 2-hour parking on their main streets. Many cities have implemented parking permits, stickers on the cars of the people that are going to be living there so that they are able to park overnight. All of those things,
You have 30
I
seconds
don't know
left.
how they work, but I am inviting you to look into it, because we, the residents, need your help. These things are beautiful. Thank you very much, but help us.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your coming forward. Do we have any other speaker cards for this project? Or if you have not filled out a card and would like to speak, you can speak now and fill out a card after.
Okay, I filled out.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you to the Planning Commission for listening to us as concerned residents. First of all, I apologize we weren't able to make the community meeting that took place on the 6th. But like mentioned in the presentation earlier, a lot of the residential areas or the residential homes surrounding the proposed building were built in the mid-century. And so one of the concerns that we're having, and I don't know if this is the right, platform to voice our questions and concerns, but what's going to happen if those homes and, with construction going on and a project of this magnitude, I'm assuming it's going to really shake the ground. What would happen to any damages to our homes? Also, what about like the pollution and the debris and everything that's going to be flying around, again, because a project of this magnitude inevitably will cause that. And so how do we protect, or what will project developers do to protect pets, babies, folks with compromised immune systems, so that this is not a project that'll happen overnight. I'm envisioning that it's going to take a long time. And so we just have a couple of other concerns. I know that I'm limited to 3 minutes. If any of those concerns can be addressed tonight, that would be great. If not, who can we reach out to so that we can continue to talk about this if it's not too late? Thank you.
And your name is?
Anaí Picasso.
Yeah. Did you fill out a card?
Yes, ma'am.
Only
I
have-
can fill out a second one.
Did I get another one? Did I lose it? I only have 3 up here. Madam Secretary, did I get another card? Did I lose it? That's all I have, right? There it is. I found it. You don't have to do that. Anaí Picasso, Picazo. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other speakers regarding this project for oral communications? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing for comments. I would like to say, though, I understand what they're saying. And if our manager would like to address any of the concerns that were uttered tonight, I think they are all valid.
I will not be politically correct in this statement, but a lot of the parking, future parking issues that we're going to come across, especially regarding housing, we're kind of tied with state legislation. And the state is actually making us not require as much parking as we used to in the past. And Carson Street is considered a high quality transit corridor. And potentially less parking can be asked for if developers kind of point to the fact that there's high quality transportation in the vicinity. So the street parking is something that we could handle separately. I could talk to the Public Works Department and traffic and other departments that are involved in that to make sure that traffic concern or parking concerns on this street are being handled. But as far as the developments, 2 parking spaces per unit, and condo developments are actually required to have CCNRs, and those CCNRs usually control additional or overflow parking as well. So we are very mindful, but we're at the limit of what we can do because of this state, and I hate to say it like that, but that's where we are right now.
Thank you very much. And if I can build on that comment, and I appreciate that. As we all know, every city in the state of California is required to have in their general plan so much housing, a certain percentage of housing. We all know that every city is having to contend with homelessness, and we know as we look at the city of LA, they're seeking locations where they can build homes. And I was maybe yesterday or day before yesterday. Today is what day? Tuesday. So yesterday, as I come to meetings here often, I'm finding that the traffic is becoming more and more aggressive in the city and unpredictable in our city. And we used to be considered a bedroom community. And now if you're on Carson, if you're on Avalon, if you're on Del Amo, if you're on any of those major corridors here in the city, we have a lot of traffic. So I want to let the residents know we do appreciate your concern. I appreciate your coming tonight to talk about it. It is an issue that we have to continue to look at. We have our traffic. John, would you like to say anything, or you're good? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Madam Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have as appropriate. But if you wanted to, there may be other commissioners who may also want to weigh in on similar subjects. If you want me to wait until we've heard other comments, we can do that.
That would be great. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Diaz.
I normally don't speak to some of the concerns that are raised, and I think it is appropriate for staff and city engineer, or planning commissioner, our manager. But I always reflect or look at the conditions of approval that the applicant has agreed to, and it lists numerous as it relates to building and safety, public works, et cetera, et cetera. So there are conditions and standards that are imposed by the city on these large projects. And a lot of the concerns that the residents raise, that were raised even this evening, in regards to noise and particulate matters, what have you, they are addressed under this project, under the conditions of approval. So we've had many projects come before us this size or larger, and again, when it's built under strict conditions and compliance, those conditions are usually mitigated, and those concerns that are raised by the surrounding residents, for the most part, the construction is always in compliance and it meets all of those needs. But I'm also aware when there's a project and there are complaints or concerns on the job site, it's posted on who they can contact, the general contractor, et cetera, that can answer those concerns or be aware of them. And again, they can always call City Hall as well. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. And I do want to say this also, because on the heels of the Maupin project, I appreciate very much that you consulted, and I appreciate our senior planner, McKenna, who took the time to make sure that this project had the safety issues that were because it's very, very similar to the Maupin project. And so we want to make sure that we had addressed all of those issues. And so I thank the applicant for that and for going through that. Um, um, I agree with Commissioner Diaz. There's usually a sign that says if you have a problem, please contact whomever the contract. Their number is usually on a sign of the construction site. I am going to also ask if there are any other commissioners who would like to weigh in on the traffic situation, but I will tell you this. Uh, I live in a single-family home here in Carson, and parking is a problem on my street. And you're absolutely right. It is a problem that we've got to work through. The homes in Carson, at least in the area where I live, all have two-car garages. Unfortunately, some homeowners decide that the garage is another, well, law was just passed for ADUs, right? And you can now convert your garage into a living space, et cetera, which means you're inviting additional cars in the community, and no cars are going in the garage. It's all street parking. So it is a concern. I don't care where you live in Carson. It is a concern. And then when you have your wonderful kids returning from college and we buy them a car, and then you've got the mother and the father with the car, and you've got the two kids with the car, you've got 4 cars right there. Trust me, that is not lost on us. But we have to make sure that we meet the requirements for the housing as our manager discussed earlier, and meet the state obligation. But at the same time, we have to try to mitigate the traffic and make it as safe as possible. So I'm going to open now for discussion for our, and I did close public hearing, did I not? Yes, thank you. Okay, so discussion among the commissioners. Anyone wants to weigh in? Thank you. Commissioner Diaz has already done so.
Yes,
Commissioner Johnson.
I did want to add to the first speaker. It's as addressed by Mr. Palmer. The Public Works meetings, I think, are first and is it first and third? No, that's City Council. Public Works meetings, that'd be the avenue. Second. I was on the commission and I don't remember. Second Monday of every month. Thank you. Second Monday of every month. That'd be a better place to present that, and they could actually give you the process for working on permit parking or even changing parking conditions from residential areas to commercial areas. That's absolutely what they do. Complete.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson, did you? Yes.
Sure. Just want to thank the residents that came out to express their concerns about the project. And I just want to stress, I know that my colleague here, Vice Chair Diaz, already addressed this, but all of the concerns, and also the chairwoman, all of the concerns that you did express have been concerns that the community has expressed about these sorts of developments. And there is a process. You know, we have a process for construction projects. So people that are construction companies that have land, they can't just like from one day to the next, like haul in the dirt and start, you know, building what they want to build. We have a process here in the planning department in the city that that has a lot of different steps that the developers and the construction contractors have to follow before they even start the process. And we have our great, you know, staff members that actually go out every step of the process to make sure that all of the laws are being followed and all the rules and regulations, which are really stringent around construction, are being followed. And I really encourage you to get a copy of the agenda. Because as our Vice Chairman Diaz mentioned, it takes you step by step through all of the conditions that have been placed on this project that have to be met in order for this project to, move forward. So it's really interesting stuff, but it mentioned a lot of the concerns that you have. It addressed a lot of the concerns that you have. So I certainly encourage you to get a copy of that and to let us know if any of those guidelines are not being met. We'll let the city officials know. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. Any other?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Dr. Arcel.
Yes, I definitely want to commend the staff and the applicants to echo what our chair mentioned earlier for essentially learning from what we've been doing and mentioning and highlighting what was a cause for concern for this commission in previous projects. So that obviously makes it a lot easier for us. And yes, we, as a commission, we really appreciate our community that shows up because, obviously we want progress. It's never going to be 100% smooth. There are going to be challenges, but absolutely we need to hear our community. Those concerns, one person saying it means that there's others that share that just never took the time to be present. So thank you for being here. Those concerns are certainly noted. Hopefully we can all work together to mitigate these concerns, but ultimately, the march of progress, right? That's what we're here for. And, I really do commend everybody working towards that same common goal. So that completes me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Okay, don't take up a lot of time.
No,
Okay.
just.
All right.
So I agree and with concerns. The
Stop touching your button. There you go.
Now, I believe your concern can be mitigated also by developers holding a good liability insurance that would answer for any problems that would cause the surrounding community, their houses. The concern is the development and the construction may cause damage to their residences. And so if the developer or the constructors carry a good liability insurance to answer for those concerns, then that would mitigate your concerns. So my question then is, does the project have this kind of liability insurance as one of the conditions?
Yes.
It does. Okay,
Yes.
that's good.
Okay. It is a condition of approval. And that's what Vice Chair Diaz was saying. It's in the package. Yeah. So that would give some consolation as well to know that everything is being protected.
I'm complete.
Thank you. If there are no further questions or discussions, then I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make the motion that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 24-2875 entitled a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Carson finding a CEQA exemption and conditionally approving site plan and design review number 1874-21, conditional use permit number 1113-21, and tentative track map number 83597 for a 50-unit town home condominium development at 336 East Carson Street.
I second that.
Thank you. It's been moved by Vice Chair Diaz and second by Commissioner Doctossel for approval of the project. Roll call, please.
Madam Shepherd Thomas,
Yes.
Vice Chair Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Doctossel,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes?
Commissioner Monteclaro.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Thank you. We look forward to your project. Thank you for coming. And we know that, let me just say this, appreciate you holding a meeting with the community, which shows that you are willing to work with the community. So you went above and I won't say beyond, it was just a wonderful handshake. And so for those who weren't able to attend, you did have it available for them, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, we have a request for approval of a tentative parcel map, TPM, to subdivide a 29,000 square foot parcel into 2 legal parcels. We have our presentation being done by Senior Planner Gerard Coleman.
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. We are working on the tentative parcel map for 101 and 117 East Carson Street. I'll give you a brief introduction to the site. We'll go through the proposed tentative parcel map. I'll talk to you about the public notice, the CEQA review, and then our staff recommendation. So site introduction. So the site itself is, like I said, it's at 101 and 117 East Carson Street, which is right where that triangle is. It's on the western side of the city in District 2, bordering of Torrance, right out along that 110 freeway, as you see. As we zoom in, the surrounding sites, there's a shopping center to its north. There's the Carson Regional Library, the Manila Business Center, and then Vallarta Supermarket to the south. And you can see it's on the corner of Main Street and of Carson. So this is the property parcel that we're working with right here. So Yoshinoya, it's a restaurant that's at 101 East Carson Street. It originated in 1996. The general plan and the zoning are both downtown mixed use, and the proposed lot size will be 16,543 square feet. The Foster Freeze, which is at 117 East Carson Street on the same parcel, originated in 1959, in which the general plan and zoning is also downtown mixed use with the proposed lot size of 12,457 square feet. So as we zoom in a little further, this is the site that we're going to be working and talking with today. The current site lot size is 29,000 square feet. What we're simply looking to propose and to ask is for a subdivide of the lot for each of the existing businesses to give you those existing parcel 1 and 2. Which, as I said, mentioned before, was 16,543 square feet at parcel 1, and parcel 2 would be 12,457 square feet. And the tentative parcel map is number 8441, and like I said, at 101 East Carson Street with the APN of 7334025-036, and 117 East Carson Street, which is 7334025-039. In which this is the parcel map that's being proposed, just to showcase the differences. So this itself over here is parcel 1, which is the Yoshinoya, and then parcel 2, which is the Foster Freeze, and then the shopping center is back here, and then the Carson Regional Library is over here, just to give you guys a clarification. So the public notice was posted on the subject property and site mailed to property owners and properties within 750 square feet radius on project sites on 9/11. The CEQA reviewed the proposed project exempt from the provisions of California Environmental Quality Act guidelines under categorical exemption section 15.3.15, minor land divisions. The criteria is met with respect to the proposed project, and no exception to the categorical exemption applies under CEQA guidelines section 15.300.2. Staff recommendation is to adopt the resolution, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Carson finding CEQA exemption and conditionally approving the tentative parcel map number 08441 to split one lot into two lots located at 101 and 117 East Carson Street at 7334-025-036 and 7334-025-039. I want to say thank you. And as I said, I'm a stone's throw away. And like I said, these two projects, there's also no construction being considered at this time.
Thank you very much for your presentation. To my colleagues, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
In recognizing the project applicant Carson Emerald 101 LLC, Jason Ball, question is, since they've been operating as one parcel for all these years, what is the significance or what's the rationale or the reason for the change now?
Sure. And we also have the applicant here too, if you have any questions specifically for him. But the rationale was because the applicant just wanted to sell one of the properties.
This is real simple, huh? Any other questions? Seeing none. Thank you for your presentation. We will now open the floor for oral communication. If the applicant wants to speak, he may. I don't have any cards. No cards. Would you like to have a word, or are you good? Oh, decisions.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. We've worked in the city for many, many years, since 1983. The properties have operated as they have two APN numbers, so we have two tax bills, but dating back, it's only been one parcel. So we need to go through this process to, we don't plan on selling the other one, but we were going to sell the building to the existing tenant, Rick, who's been the tenant for 50 years. So, yeah.
Wow.
Thank
I
you for your
think that's reason enough.
I appreciate it.
Do we have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes.
You're not going to sell the Frosty Freeze, are you?
No, to the existing tenant, Mr. Rick
We're gonna
Lang.
still be there.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. My family frequented, and still does, by the way, your establishment. I'm complete, Madam Chair. Don't break my heart. Thank you.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. No, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, we will close the public hearing. The commissioners, we're open for discussion. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? If not, then I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Motion to approve the project as was read this evening.
Can I get a
Seconded.
second? Did it get a second?
Second that.
Oh, okay. Your voice is coming from the. Thank you, Vice Chair Diaz, for the motion. And did you catch who seconded? Okay. Commissioner Dr. Ossel, roll call, please.
Madam Chair Diaz?
Yes, Madam
Chair
Chair.
Thomas. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just jump to the second.
Vice Chair Diaz?
Yes.
Commissioner Tartazo?
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra?
Yes.
Commissioner Huff?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes?
Commissioner Monteclaro?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Approved. Thank you so much. And we thank you for all the years of service that those two locations have and continue to give Carson.
Thank you.
And they are well kept.
I look forward to doing more work with you.
Awesome. We do too. Have a good evening. Okay, so that is the last as far as our public hearings and all go, and I think it's been a great night. Manager's report. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank everyone who supported me in my absence. Thank you, Makina. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Commission and staff. Thank you. we're actually picking up a lot of steam. There's so many projects that are going to be coming down, and one of the projects that'll be coming is phase 2 of the zoning code update. We have a draft version of it, and we've been working on that diligently. And we'll have that for you, if not by the end of the year, but by the beginning of next year. So we're working on that. And along with that is going to come some updates to phase 1 of the Carson Municipal Code. Now that we've had a chance to experience it and staff has been working with it, we see some of the tweaks that we'll present to you to see if it's appropriate to amend some portions of that code. So along with some development projects. So, if we're busy, that means you're going to be busy too. So get ready. I am complete.
I don't know how to follow that. We may have to sit you on another honeymoon. That's what we need. And nevertheless, thank you. Thank you for that information. Now, Commissioner's oral communication, starting to my right. Commissioner Monteclaro.
Thank you. So I'm very encouraged that we have this, our city is growing.
Yes.
And, that's very amazing and awesome. But I still dream that later we'll have Costco in Carson. Okay, I'm complete.
Is that what you have to dream about? Is Costco really?
So I don't have to drive to Torrance.
He gets a thumbs up from me. I'm
I
trying to
couldn't. I couldn't resist. Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Happy to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve and contribute. Actually left my son's soccer game halfway through to come here.
Ooh.
But he understands. He understands the importance, and I try to convey it to him that what we're doing is important, and I wouldn't miss it for anything else. I'm complete.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
I just want to thank everyone here, from our colleagues to, our staff. Everyone is just really amazing. Our commission meetings run very smoothly. They're very efficient, and I really appreciate my colleagues on this commission who are very diligent with respect to each of these projects that come before us. And so thank you so much. I think it's really important to have a commission that really looks at the projects as they come forward. And really what happens is we address some of the issues that the residents have.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone for all of your work and your diligence. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, because I think that's our job. We are all located in various parts of the city, and we are to represent them. And I ditto your comment. Thank you. I'm moving to my left. Dr. Ossel.
Yes, I reiterate what I said earlier. I really do appreciate the staff, the entire team up here, and in a special way, the community. Whenever they show up for these meetings, it's very important to be heard. And I do echo my colleagues too, in the sense that with Commissioner Johnson talking about his son, I'm one of the ones that have young kids here too. So it's part of our duty is to do that. And yes, I've had conversations with my children, because what we're doing here is literally for the future of the city. And certainly part of that challenge is, ensuring that future that we prepare for them is a better situation than we find ourselves in right now. So that's exciting work. It's work, but it's definitely something that is something to look forward to. And I do want to also invite our community. We have a couple of events coming up here locally in the city. October is Philippine American History Month. So October 12th, we do have a celebration here at the Carson Event Center for Phil Am History Month. And then on October 26th is Larry Itliong Day celebration, which is a paid holiday for the city. So hopefully the community can join those events. That completes me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Huff.
Well, I first would like to say good evening to everybody. When you're this far down, everything has been said, thank goodness. But I will say ditto everyone's comments. That's the easiest part. And I'd definitely like to thank both of our senior planners, Alexander and Coleman. You guys did a terrific job with a lot of information. You brought it to us concisely. You were finished with your part. It was our commission that went on. But I'm glad that all points were brought out. Parking is a problem, and as our chair said, is going to be a problem. We felt it on our street for a long time now. So all you can do is the very best you can and be as neighborly as possible. I do want to remind everybody that we need to get out to vote. I think I can legally say that. We need to encourage everybody to go vote. If they've had any change, any addresses, anything, they need to fill out another application. I really do have some, and someone needs some. I didn't bring them in my car, but it is that important. Also, there is a caveat that child 16 and 17 can pre-register to vote. They do hold those cards over, but it's teaching them the process of democracy, listening to Commissioner Johnson talk about, I don't know how old your child is, but we have to begin teaching them as they're growing up, and bringing them to a city council or a city meeting is definitely the first step in finding out what's going on. Thank you, everybody. I'm always glad to be here to take part on this commission, and I wish everybody happy and wonderful fall, I guess, that has already arrived, but we're moving to it, and we do have lots of work to look forward to. Thank you very much. I am complete.
Thank you, Commissioner Guerra.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor and a privilege to serve with my fellow commissioners and, of course, the wonderful staff that we have here and our legal counsel that keeps us squared away. Just a quick comment, if I may, too. Is there any possibility that they will be building some type of housing on top of the South Bay Pavilion? That's something that I would like to see happen, and I am complete, Madam Chair.
I'll take that under advisement. Vice Chair Diaz.
Yes, good evening, everyone, as well. Again, I think I echo the sentiments of my colleagues that we are working well together here. And it's also because of staff's commitment to put together the staff reports and, again, dot the i's, cross the t's for us. It's incumbent on us to review all the material beforehand and to visit the sites as they come before us. So I'm happy and pleased that we're still on this together, working on this commission, doing God's work. Also, I'd like to make an announcement. My homeowners association, Dominguez Lincoln Village, will be hosting a candidate forum for our mayor at large, Lula Davis Holmes, and for District Council 3 on the east side of town, Cedric Hicks, the current council member. I invite my fellow commissioners and staff for city at large to come. It is a very important time. The date is October 2nd, Wednesday, October 2nd, 7 p.m. at 21156 Santa Fe Avenue in Carson. So I'm complete.
Thank you so much. Also, Assistant City Attorney.
I'd just like to thank the commissioners for their service. I'm really happy to hear that, that I totally agree with that sentiment, that the importance of the work. The city is very fortunate to have such a great planning commission with commissioners who are dedicated and who care. And also, of course, the staff doing an excellent job. Whenever I don't need to talk much, it means we're doing pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you. I always, I am really pleased. I think we have the best commission ever. I really do. Everyone is dedicated to doing the work. Some of us need to read a little bit more of what's in the package so we don't ask questions that are already there. Heads go up and down. But we appreciate everyone, and we appreciate the sacrifices that are made. And I appreciate Commissioner Johnson for stating that he gave up something very, very important to come and do something equally as important, and to put us in that category. I think that is awesome. I want to thank Senior Planner McKenna Alexander. Since our last meeting, and we all know how that went. She got right on top of it. She made some calls. I have been in several meetings with her and those people since our last meeting to make sure that things would run as smoothly as they did tonight. But even more importantly, I appreciate the dedication of this commission. Look for those things where we can make a difference. It is very, very important. Everything is not, some people may miss something, some people won't, and it doesn't matter who you are. But with all these minds up here, let's make sure that we are doing our work, and you have been doing that, and you're to be commended, but also staff, and also staff is to be commended. I appreciate it. I enjoy the work. I will, whatever time I need to be here, just let me know. And as long as I've eaten, I'm good. So I will also announce that Saturday, the 5th of October, will be the Carson Jazz Festival, which will take place in Anderson Park. And Anderson Park has gone through a renovation, I'm going to call it, but not in the way that you may think. I discovered today, I had a walkthrough, and I discovered that it was really an ADA renovation upgrade. It was not but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You'll see it. Come to the Jazz Festival, but it's really targeting the ADA community to make sure that they can come, enjoy the park, and do so safely with whatever their situation may be. We have a lot of park updates that are going on, and so others will indeed be beautification, but we had a changing of the guards, and so as a result, you got different things happening, but it is coming together. I agree with Commissioner Monteclair. We're growing. We have a lot going on, and I want to thank our commission manager, Mr. Palmer, for letting us know there are a lot of projects that will be coming, so stay tuned. It's going to be a lot to take a look at. Thank you for that. It's just a little bit after 8 o'clock. It's a good meeting. Appreciate everybody. Thank you, Gerard, because your name is sticking in my head, Gerard. Coleman, that's it. I like Gerard, but no, I'm kidding. But nevertheless, thank you, thank you, thank you. And this meeting is officially adjourned.